Every great story is filled with details, lush, sensual, revealing details about people, places, events, and ideas. So, what are details? When we're young, teachers admonish us to gather details. My high school English teacher, Robert Leonard, used to call them for instances, as in, every time you give a detail, you say to yourself, for instance? Writers need to gather vast troves of details, lots more than we will ever use. Think of yourself as collecting details the way a vintage store owner gathers furniture, clothing, toys, games, dishes, art, and so much more. Only then will we be able to create the best sentences and paragraphs. We need the details to do everything else. So, what is a detail? Here's one definition that focuses on the pieces that make up the whole, one minute part, particulars, minutiae, and understanding how everything fits into a whole. But I think this definition is missing the most important element. Readers don't want details just for window dressing or for frills or for color. They want details because they want to learn something they don't know. In other words, they want surprise. If you fill your story with details that the readers already know, you will bore them to tears. You need to tell them something they don't know. For the love of God, don't use obvious details in your writing. It will be flat and uninteresting. You won't be able to show the reader anything fresh, and if the reader can predict what you say, what's the point in the first place? Here's a simple strategy. Write down all the obvious details above a line on a piece of paper. When you start writing, you're going to want to ignore most of those obvious details. Okay, then look hard for details that aren't so obvious. Look hard. Look in places that you ordinarily wouldn't think of looking. Then record them under the line. Consider this photo. What's obvious and what's not? Start by writing down everything you notice right away on the top of the page. Then draw a line under that list. Below the line, write all the details that you notice only with great effort. List the details that 9 out of 10 people would miss. Work hard. Observing is hard work. We all have blind spots. We don't see things that are right in front of us. You might know about the famous gorilla experiment. If not, take a look on YouTube. The point is simple. People pay attention to one thing at a time. If you're looking here, you can't be looking there. So you have to train yourself to look where you wouldn't naturally look. So here's a trick. Rather than following the instructions of people, do the opposite. Ask what ordinary, unadventurous, predictable people would look for, and then turn it all upside down. Look where you're not supposed to look. Be a voyeur of the life around you. Be like Sherlock. A police officer once told me about a colleague who solved a problem. They were at a crime scene in a rough neighborhood, and there was a woman who was beaten and killed. Everyone assumed that she was a prostitute. But this Sherlockian police officer noticed something. He noticed that she had finely painted nails, which made him suspect that this woman was not a prostitute, but rather she was someone who had the resources and the time to take care of her grooming and her beauty. Be a relentless observer and note-taker. Get a cheap notebook and take it with you wherever you go. And observe on the street, in the office, the classroom, home, the car, coffee shops, bars, sports fields. Wherever you go, observe, 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 and then write down what you observe. Try to look where you usually don't look for people's mannerisms, reactions, relations with each other, everything. Go crazy with your lists. Just accumulate all kinds of stuff. Make that your habit. You are the list maker. If you're a list maker, you can then be a really vivid writer. In one paragraph of My Struggle, Karl Ove Knausgaard gathers and assembles these details in his musings about people's avoidance of death. I like to think of this as stacking. To write well, you need a big stack of details and ideas. The less you have, the harder writing will be, and you will end up writing with bad information and bad style that bores your reader. Now, I want to make a radical claim. Details matter more for good writing, clear writing, engaging writing than grammar, sentence structure, and other technical stuff. When you have the details, you aren't trying to say something without the information at hand. Too often, writers write badly because they don't have the information they need to construct great sentences and to follow simple grammar and to follow basic technical rules. You need materials to build something. If you don't have the materials to build a house, you won't be able to hammer it well. You won't be able to connect joints. You won't be able to deal with all of the technical stuff that you need to build your structure with strength and beauty. If you don't have the details you need to describe something, you will create all kinds of bad structures. You will create all kinds of bad sentences, paragraphs, and sections. And the reader might not be able to tell why it's bad, but they will know it's really bad. There's another reason that gathering details can be so powerful for writing. The reason is that writing is ultimately a matter of putting together pieces of a puzzle. If you don't have the pieces, your puzzle is going to have lots of gaps. When you put puzzle pieces together, it's a little like playing God. You have all the raw materials and you can create whatever reality you want. Make sure you get enough details to do it right. Now it's your turn. Look around the room right now. For a full 60 seconds, soak up as many details as you can. Then write them down. Now, take your time and deliberately add to the list. Look on all sides of the details you notice. Find new details. Keep doing it. How many extra details can you stack after getting through the first set of obvious details?